I'll do things mindlessly because I'm so busy. And then I'll like halfway through go, wait, aren't we hiring someone to do this? And she's like, yeah, but I want to get it all ready for them so it's easy for them to do it. I'm like, what are you doing?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glen Gilbert Connection. This is where we discuss relationship wisdom for today's man and woman. I'm your host, Glen Gilbert, and today's guest is a man who wears many hats: entrepreneur, father, husband, and community builder. Young Han isn't just running businesses. He's redefining what it means to lead with integrity, both at home and in the boardroom. In this episode, we are going to dive deep into the intersections of relationships and fiscal responsibility, how money, marriage, and mission can either collide or harmonize, depending on how we show up. If you've ever wondered how to build wealth without losing connection, or how to lead your family with the same clarity you bring to your career, this conversation is for you. Welcome, Young. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you spending the energy to build a show and having me on it.
Oh, thank you. Just to let those watching and listening, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you're at.
Sure. I'm a San Francisco native, so born in the Bay Area, California, and watched my dad build his business career and kind of take us from a small little liquor store in a low income area. And he kind of built business after business and moved us up the socioeconomic ladder. And I think that's always kind of steeped in me. And so I've just kind of been an entrepreneur ever since I turned 18. And so became an adult and I could sign for a business license. I started a business and went from there. And I've been building businesses throughout my early professional career and failing a lot of businesses as well. And so I've ended up working at a lot of great companies to pay off debt or kind of catch up again before I started another business. And then over the last 5 years, I had a huge midlife crisis, moved my family to small town Texas. And now I just do consulting and build businesses. And I'm pretty good at it, just from the decades of building businesses and helping startups scale. I've learned a lot of things, and applying them into small business has been really effective for me, much better than a lot of these other investment vehicles. And so I've been using that over the last 4 or 5 years to essentially figure out ways to build enough assets that will allow me to have financial freedom so that I can spend more time with my kids.
I love it. I love it. Before we get too deep, and we just talked about this briefly before, tell us a little bit about how your father impacted your life.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that he kind of like steeped in me the possibility of business building. And I never really thought much about it until I became an adult. And that's kind of interesting because, you don't really appreciate your parents until you become a parent. And then you're like, oh man, they were awesome, or they did much better than I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the same thing that happened to me, right? Like I didn't really think about me as like a small business builder and putting elbow grease in. I was always in Silicon Valley. So I was always looking for the big like disruption or the big like venture-backed company. And then you scale it and then you exit and then everyone's super filthy rich, instead of kind of these service businesses that you build and scale over time gradually. But I think that that experience of my dad building with hard work, rigor, systems building, determination, and time, and then leveling up to such a wonderful degree of multiple levels of socioeconomic status really like imprinted upon me the accessibility of that, but also just the approachability and really the foundational layer. Because like I think that just being around him and watching him do it made it more easier for me to take that leap of faith and start businesses, because it's much more normal for me than people that don't have entrepreneurial parents. Not to say that you can't have that, but for me, it's not as it's not like ground zero and I'm taking a leap off a cliff. It's kind of almost normalized in my house, And so I think my father had a really big impact on me on that. And then the big other thing that I had an impact on was just his ability to like scale and rise up the economic ladder in one lifetime was just really fun to see, and then showed possibilities. So again, back to the approachability and accessibility, because I saw someone else do it, it made it possible for me to do. And so it's easier to achieve when it's doable.
Yeah, I like to say like our parents' voices are always in the back of our head. That's that instinctive voice to do this or that or the other thing. It's like, oh, if I have any questions, the little voice in the back of my head told me to do that. And I always think of that's either mom or dad. And it sounds like that was just ingrained into you.
Totally. I mean, my dad, he wasn't a perfect man. I mean, he was definitely a workaholic, and he was very utilitarian and logical and very mathematical. And so he worked a lot and did what was best for our livelihood and trying to get us out of, the impoverished area that we lived. And he did a good job. I mean, for all the things that he did, but he was able to provide a life that was a higher starting point for me so that I could achieve more or at least have more opportunities. And I see my dad more as like a benchmark that I can evolve and improve on. And I'm hoping that I can imprint that upon my kids so they can take what I'm giving them and they can be an evolution of me and be a better parent than I am, right?
Nice, nice. Um, I I do notice in your content that you put out there, you are always smiling,
Yeah.
and it is awesome to see. I enjoy your content, I enjoy watching it, and you're always smiling. That's not just something that's just like you're faking it. I mean, that's the sense I get. It's like I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
he's
It's a
genuinely really
funny
happy.
story. Yeah, it's a really funny story. I mean, I do a lot of business coaching and consulting for income. That's how I make money to then go buy and build businesses.
Mhm.
And so by default, I'm constantly working with new people and trying to get buy-in. And I will tell you, there's a significant percentage of the population that takes a few months to trust me. And
Mhm.
it's very unfortunate because they just assume that, because I'm so happy, because I'm so transparent, because I'm so direct, that I'm too good to be true and there's something wrong. I'm trying to sell them something or I'm like snake oil or something like that. And then it'll take like three months usually, and then they go, oh, you're really this happy all the time. And I'm like, yeah. And then they'll start to trust me and then they'll start realizing I'm just a really happy person. And then it's a lot better. But there's a good chunk of the population that has a hard time with that smiling
Sure.
thing.
As long
Yeah,
as they
it's
come
really
around.
interesting, right?
Yeah, as long as they come around, I would think, and as long as they show, it sounds like you're giving them consistency. It's like, yeah, if that's what you want to think, but here we go.
Yeah.
This is who I am,
Yeah.
and they're like,
I mean,
wait,
I just had a
really?
conversation with a client just like the last month because they told me that like it was just hard to believe because it was too good to be true. And then when they did find out, I actually had the ability to talk to them. I said, would it have been easier if I was, non-direct, manipulative, and cagey? Would that have helped you trust me better?
Right.
And they're like, I guess not. Then I'm like, so then the issue is you, not me. Like,
Right.
why are
It's
you
like,
like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like
So
I think there might be something else going on there. Yeah.
yeah.
You
Yeah, it's
describe.
more for my sanity, actually. I mean, my wife hates this, but she it's a defect, and I admit that it is a defect. But because most of us have different variations of personas depending on who we're with, right? So if we're a second child or the baby or whatever, we play that role in our family. And then with our high school friend group, we play a certain role. With our college friend group, play a certain role. With our certain coworkers at certain companies, we play a certain role, right? Maybe you're a manager at a company, maybe you're an employee at another one, but like we all have these variations of who we are depending on, who we hang out with. And that's somewhat normal. I didn't realize that until my wife told me I was the weird one, but I don't have that. And so I'm literally the same person with whoever you put me in front of, which is really good and bad. And I know it's a defect because after my wife told me it was a defect, I started asking people and I found out that I'm the one that's weird. But yeah, like I'm the exact same with my mom as I am with if I met the president of the United States. I'd be
Mhm.
like I wouldn't know any other way. I just am, So I meet executives or I meet the janitor. I'm just kind of just who I am. And so it's been really easy for me to just be transparent and direct because I don't really have any variations of myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. That's actually very good. I mean, as long as I think there's really good qualities and what's the word? Genuineness.
Mm,
I don't think that's right. But for someone who's consistent with, who they talk to, it doesn't matter who they are. You're always consistent. It shows someone, I think it's someone being genuine. There's a level of integrity there. There's something to where I get a sense where if someone is being consistent to whoever they're talking to, no matter who it is, for me, it's like, okay, because they're being so consistent, it's hard to, how are they going to be falsifying anything? For me, it just already kind of generates a level of trust. I'm like, okay, it's consistent
yeah,
with
and
everybody.
I think a lot of that happens when things go bad, right? Because I think it's really easy to be good. Like my dad always says, it's easy to be good when it's easy to be great when times are good.
Sure.
It's truly great when times are bad, and bad things happen all the time, especially in business. And
Mm.
I think the fact that I don't really change when times are bad is like really the indication for most people that it is just who I am. But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the smile thing because I do struggle with it a lot, and I have to like be very conscious about like if they're believing me or not because I'm all constantly onboarding with new clients, right? Yeah.
Um, no, I think it's great.
No, thanks.
Yeah, I think
I
it's great. I
appreciate
don't,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate some people feel that way, but I can understand why. And it's
Totally.
nice that they come around. It's nice that
Yeah,
they
I
come around.
empathize with it too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not oblivious to the fact that it's weird. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I catch myself smiling too much, and it's usually because I'm like, oh, I have to speak in front of everybody. Oh, this is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh
Well,
my God, I'm so nervous.
well, I
Um,
also start, I mean, this is like, I mean, I don't know if you do self-talk or,
mhm,
like morning rituals like that, but I do a
mhm.
lot of like self-talk in the morning and my self-talk is very ridiculous. It's not dramatic like everyone else is. Everyone's like, I am this and because of this, I'm going to do this and da da da. And it's so meaningful and inspiring. And my self-talk is, all right, man, you're awesome. You're going to have such a great day. You are so lucky. Good things always happen to you. Oh my goodness, this is going to be the best day ever. That's literally my self-talk. And so I do that every morning and just, I don't know, just start the day off happy and try to have an abundance mindset and tackle the day.
Yeah, an abundance mindset is very important. That's a great point. So is
Mm.
this before or after coffee that you say these things to yourself?
It's actually
Yeah.
before and after coffee.
Oh
So
my
I do
gosh.
it when I wake up and then I have coffee and then I do it again. Yeah.
Is your
But it's
family
really
like,
it's really
yeah,
powerful stuff, man. I
oh,
mean,
I believe you.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. I'm just picturing your family going, he's talking to himself again in the mirror. He's talking to himself.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if I could share another personal story about this, it's like this it's almost like this delusional confidence, right? It's like so funny because my oldest has a lot of that kind of overabundance of happiness and confidence like me. And she's really getting into singing and dancing and she's not a good singer, unfortunately. And
Not yet.
she's just not yet exactly. And she's just singing her heart out. And it's terrible and it sounds awful. And she comes over and she's like, I'm pretty awesome, right? And we're like, no, you're not. And we literally will say, no, you're not. And she'll go, yeah, you love it. I'm awesome. And she'll walk away.
That's hilarious. You know you
And my
love it.
wife's like, that's literally you. Like you
That's
have,
literally you.
yeah, you
Oh,
have like delusional confidence in your abilities and you're just so happy with yourself. It's so funny.
but it's so important. It's such how old are your children?
She's 8.
But it's
So
awesome. It's and to have that confidence, she's like, I know you just love it. I could just see her
I know
just
you
like,
love it.
you love
Yeah.
it. And
No,
walking
I'm
away.
literally telling you I don't love it. It's not good. She's like, you love it.
I
Yeah.
don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe you. You love it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's hilarious. You describe yourself as a full-time dad and full-time professional.
Yeah.
How do you maintain a work-life balance while running multiple businesses?
Yeah, I don't actually. So I gave up on work-life balance about 4 years ago, and I just prescribed to work-life integration. And so I just like the turning point for me was realizing that like, when I had like a bad business day, and I have it's hard building business, and it's hard to like not be like carry a little bit of weight and be 100%, when you go to your family time, right? It's like you could do the resets, you could try to clear your mind, you could do all those things, but we're human beings, we're not robots. And if I have like a bad like fight with my wife, it's hard to like not like carry that weight on my shoulders going to work. And so the moment like you if you acknowledge that as truth and you realize that that is accurate, then like by default, work life like balance is kind of a moot point. And it's like we're human beings. And so if that's the case, you just do what you can, the best that you can with what you have when you have it. And so I just believe in work-life integration. And so I stopped trying to be, I'm a dad first and I'm a this, that second, and then I'm this. It's like, no, I'm all of these things. I love making money. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world. And I love my kids. It's one of my favorite things that has happened to me in the last 8 years. And I don't care to have a binary like allocation for it. And so I'm just gonna mix it all in. And sometimes they'll come with me to work, they'll go to conferences with me, and sometimes I'll bring work with me, or I'll let go of clients that don't allow that and, just make it work.
Really? You're like
Hmm.
you let them go. Wow.
Totally. I mean, I don't think that it's very scary, right? And you got to be obviously very good at like a lot of different things. So, I take that with a grain of salt because like you can only do that once you have good systems built
Mhm.
and you have a good funnel, right? And so once you have a good funnel and good systems built, then you can optimize for hourly rate or time freedom. And so I speak about this stuff because I have built good systems. So just because I'm saying this doesn't mean that you should go do it. You should audit your business and make sure you can afford to do that. But yeah, I'm in a position where I can do that.
So financial discipline with ownership in 8 businesses. Did I get that right? 8 businesses?
I don't know where you got that number. It's probably older content, but I have 13. Unfortunately, I have 13 now.
Unfortunately or fortunately?
I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just whoever, yeah, I have the beholder.
Yeah. So with 13 businesses, how do you personally define fiscal responsibility and what habits help you stay financially grounded?
I it's a hard question to answer because I don't feel fiscally responsible in the traditional sense, right? I'm taking massive bets on myself and in my future. And so there are constantly tumultuous times fiscally in the last 4 years. And I have one more year of high risk fiscal financial responsibility. I mean, so I guess it's a loaded question because when you say fiscal responsibility, it usually means conservatism and diversification, and um, I'm not doing any of that, and it's intentional. So for 5 years, I'm just making as much money as I possibly can and deploying it immediately. And so, yeah, and I'm losing a ton of money all the time. So I mean, I've lost at least 50, 60% of my investments in the last
Mm.
4 years. And so I've lost a ton of money. Hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I have 13 businesses, but I've started over 20 in the last four
Right.
years. Yeah, so you got to imagine that I'm not like hitting home runs every time. I mean, I'm failing more than I'm succeeding.
That's part of business though, right? Is there's a lot of failure
Totally.
before you,
Yeah.
yeah, before you
Yeah, I
really,
mean, 92% of businesses fail in the first 5 years and 60% fail in the first year. So I'm actually
Mhm.
beating the odds technically. And so I just try to stay objective about it and understand that I'm beating the American odds, statistically speaking. And so if I have a 10% delta, of a higher delta than the American standard, then I'm actually hitting okay. So I just keep moving forward with that 60% success rate and just keep moving forward.
Good, good.
Mhm.
Regards to marriage and money, how has entrepreneurship impacted your relationship with your spouse, especially when navigating financial stress or uncertainty?
Yeah, it's been really tricky. My wife's been the biggest influence in my life as I go on this journey, right? And so she's really um, impactful. And I think the spouse is like probably the most impactful person in an entrepreneur's life, and they can change the dynamics so much, with their perception and attitude and projection of their feelings and sentiment. And so I'm very grateful to have her. She's not the most supportive. I'm not going to lie. But she's also very supportive, right? And so
Mm,
I think she's very, very risk averse, and so she hates it. She hates everything that
yeah,
we're doing, and obviously she tries to temper it. But I mean, we got to try. I mean, we got to try. And so, I mean, I keep reminding her that like, I've had enough great experiences in my life and enough of a network that the worst thing that happens to us is we make a really good salary. I go back to work and make a good salary as an executive at some tech company. I mean, that's
mhm,
like our rock bottom is so high that I feel like we owe it to the, you know, Americans that don't have that luxury and privilege to go try to build something more for ourselves. And I asked for 5 years, and I have to constantly remind her that because it's scary, not
sure,
having money and to spend. And every dollar
sure,
I make, I reinvest into a business, and it's probably very unnerving for her. But
sure.
yeah, she does a good job of managing it, and I do a decent job of managing the stress of it, and it looks like it's going to start working out. So
Good for
I'm
you.
on the tail end of my 5 year plan, and I'm not anywhere near my 20 business goal, but um, I am very, very happy with the progress I've made on my first batch of businesses. Two of them are starting to cash flow. So service businesses take a lot longer to cash flow, especially if you're not the owner operator, right? And so I'm not in the business, so they just take longer for them to make money. But the first two are starting to make money, and so I think it's one of those things where it's like you're only crazy until you pull it off, and then I think I'm actually starting to pull it off.
Sure. No, I
Yep.
think it's a really great point that you have planned for worst case scenario, and that worst case scenario doesn't seem to be that bad.
Well, I mean, that's what I think, right? I mean, I think that
Right.
a lot of people would be very grateful to have an executive role at a tech company, and I think they would be happy with that, ability to do that. And I just take that as like my rock bottom because I can't imagine a world where I can't find something with my network and my skills,
Right.
And so if that's the case, then I should try to do more.
Sure. I think
Hmm.
that's really important, especially for your spouse to know that it's like, even if rock bottom looks like this, how bad is that really? I mean, it's basically saying no matter how bad it's going to get, this is as bad as it could get for us,
Yeah.
and we're going to be just fine. So
Yeah,
we have an
we won't be
opportunity.
great, but we'll be fine. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
We're really strong believers in one parent at home, and so obviously things are more expensive, and you'd have to tighten our belts a little, but yeah, I mean we'd be fine, and she'd be happier with that actually. I think she likes the idea of struggling and saving together, and this is all kind of
sure,
like alien to her. So
sure. Well, like
mhm.
you said, you're on the tail end of the 5 years, so
Mhm.
I guess we can reassure her not too much longer, right?
No, exactly.
That's good.
Almost done here. Yeah.
Almost done. You're clearly building something lasting. So how do you approach legacy, not just in business, but in your relationships and parenting?
Yeah, I mean, my goal for parenting is just to be able to be a good dad in the different stages in their lives. I think like we're in the first tranche is kind of like cresting, and we're entering the second tranche where I was teaching them, telling them, directing them, and for lack of better words, like managing them, right?
Mhm.
And making sure they're fed, making sure they know ground rules, common courtesy, brushing their teeth, hygiene, like eating their food and all those things. And I think we're cresting on that stage and moving into more of like a, support kind of friend stage, where they're starting to question me and ask me why I'm being hypocritical and I have to do now what I said, not just say what I say. And
Sure.
so we're entering that stage, and I just need to do a good job of adapting to those stages, right? And there's obviously like a third stage as they become young adults, and I'll just need to like, adapt to those stages as well. And so as I think about parenting and leaving a legacy, my goal is to just be a really good adapter, and be conscious of those stages of what they need me to be. So I can provide, what they need when they need it and when they need it the most. And then the hope is that they are so fond of me that they want to come back and hang out with me for the rest of their lives.
Sure.
And that's my legacy with my kids and my goals, anyways. And then as it relates to business, I'd love to be able to provide more equity for Americans. I think that we've done a really weird thing over the last 30 or 40 years and accidentally caved out the middle class. And I think that business ownership and equity is like a really great vehicle for helping rebuild it in my own little way. And so I use my businesses to help other people own equity in the businesses I start, make, and guide. And I'm hoping that, my small way, I'm helping more Americans enter the middle class. And then most of my businesses, if you stay for 2 years, you also start earning equity as an employee. And my goal is to help as many people make money not working and teach them how to do that. And in my own little way, try to rebuild my community through equity building. And so I know it's kind of it's a measly little speck in the American ecosystem, but that's my legacy that I'd like to create and impact as many people as I can in my local community.
Sure.
And then just as it relates to me being a professional and just as a human being, I would love to be able to give back and help as many people as I can, and in volunteering and sitting on nonprofit boards and donating and just helping the community where it needs it most, and just trying to be a part of the fabric of my local ecosystem and be a contributing member through the social services and I don't necessarily want to run for office, but helping with just making sure that the community and values are still intact and supporting people where I can.
I think that says a lot to your character when people are doing something where they are giving to others without expecting anything in return. It shows a real genuine spirit of thoughtfulness.
Mm.
It's like what's the word for it? I guess just being genuine and heartfelt and having no expectations that you're going to get something in return, but you're going to give something to the community and help others achieve their goals. I think that's incredibly rewarding, and it shows again,
Yeah.
it shows a lot to your character and who you are as a person.
Well, I
So,
just want to be clear. That's the legacy I want to create. I haven't done any of it. So like, let's
oh,
be clear
oh
here.
well, let
I'm
me take
just,
that all back. Forget
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh
Like
my
take it all
gosh,
back. Yeah, exactly.
no,
But I will also say, yeah, I mean, there in fact is the reward, right? It's that you get to give and you get to feel the gratitude and the gratefulness, and you get
yeah,
that exchange of value in that sense. But I think the selfishness part of me is that I want to raise my kids in a community that has more prosperity, and so
hmm,
like they say, like studies show that like where you raise your kids is more influential than anything that you say and do to them.
right,
So if that is the truth, then you got to pick where you live very, very thoughtfully because that will influence them so much in who they are and their character, their resilience, their grit, all that stuff. And so if that is the case, then you should try to impact and influence your community as much as you can so it's prosperous and good core values and abundant and healthy so that like your kids can grow up in a really healthy environment so that you can have them be influenced by those values.
sure, sure, yeah. I what you're talking about is just reminding me like when I was a little kid and kind of side note, I grew up in Corte Madera, just north of the San Francisco area.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Seattle, but I moved down
Awesome.
to Corte Madera, and I just remember just going like, that is the entire world.
Hmm.
Like Corte Madera, and it's like,
Heck
oh,
yeah.
there's this hill, and there's some water over there, and there's this dark orange bridge, whatever that is, but that's the
Yeah.
world. So that little, I mean, what you're saying is, how important that is for the children to grow up in a good environment. I mean, that
Yeah.
resonates. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what studies say. I mean, I don't, I'm not smart enough to know this, and nor am I a scientist to research it. But that's what all the studies say is that that's like the most impactful thing to a children's development. Yeah.
sure, sure. So, what role does clear communication play in both business partnerships and personal relationships, especially when money's involved?
It's the only thing that matters, really. I mean,
Mm,
I think money is almost the arbitrary medium or vehicle that you use to have these transactions, right? It's like just a variable. And I think that it's incredibly important, and it's really hard, right? It's really hard to talk about money and what you want and what you need, but it's super important. And I try to be as transparent about it as possible.
mhm,
But to answer your question more directly, yes, it's the most important thing, and I think that it's even more important than the money because the money is just a medium. It's
mhm.
actually the transaction that you're communicating that's actually the value.
I would agree. Communication is everything.
Mhm.
As a father, how do you teach your kids about money? Also, how do you teach them about value and responsibility in ways or in a way that's age appropriate but impactful?
Yeah, I used to try to gamify this a lot and
Really?
try to like orchestrate these ways to teach them values and teach them money and all these other things. But um, what I've ended up resorting to is just role modeling the best human being that I want them to be like.
Mhm.
And so for the first 5 years of my oldest, I tried so hard to like create these like little things that I would do to like teach those values. I mean, I
Mhm.
got so creative. I mean, I spend way too much time thinking about this stuff, but inevitably they just watch what you do. So you could
Mhm.
say anything you want to them and you could make them do all these exercises or craft all these great like experiences. But at the end of the day, they're going to become you based on what you do and how you act. They're watching.
Right.
And it is going to instill way more deep um, fissures of benchmarks of what is good and bad in the world by watching you live. And so I noticed that because I wasn't the best human, right? I worked too much or I wasn't good, even keeled, or, anyways, doesn't matter. But my point being is they started calling me out on my hypocrisy. And I started realizing that, like, I need to actually role model what I want them to look like and be like, or at least set a standard to. And so That's what I've been doing. And I think that that's the most important way to instill these values in them is to try your best to be the best human you want to be, or you think the best human is, and
Mhm.
literally role model it. And that includes working hard if you want them to have good work ethic. That includes sacrificing sleep sometime to achieve something extraordinary. That includes taking big risks if you think that's important. That
Mhm.
includes making sure that you're satiated and you're happy if you're in even in a marriage, and make sure that you spend time with your wife and forcing those things to happen at the sacrifice of time with kids if you think that's important, right? But like all of these things are decisions that you're making, and if you're not making them, they're being made for you and they're being perceived. And
Mhm.
so just having a high level intentionality of like what kind of human you want to be, and what you want them to be like. And I just think about that all the time, and just like know that they're watching even when I'm not around, and they're watching that I'm not around, right? And
Right.
so I think it's really important to be intentional about it and understand that you are um, teaching them.
Yeah, it sounds, you're reminding me of just the famous line of where, they're going to watch your actions more than they're going to watch your words.
Totally.
And I'm also just picturing your kids going, Dad, you're being a hypocrite. You want to knock it
Totally.
off?
Totally. Well, they don't say hypocrite, but yeah, they basically go, "How come you say this but you do that?" And it's like, that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. Why can't you just why can't you just do as I say, you know?
Right.
But yeah, so you gotta really think about those things because they're watching, and I think that that's going to matter a lot. And again, going back to research, again, I'm not smart enough to do my own, but if you read about this stuff, it definitely matters a lot. So if that is truth, and I do believe it is true, then the natural logical thing to do is try your best to role model what you think good is.
Yeah. Yeah. Set the good example.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Running multiple ventures can be isolating. So, how do you cultivate emotional support in your personal relationships while staying focused on growth?
Yeah, I mean that's a really interesting question. I mean, I'm not the best at social in the traditional sense. I think I am, but my wife obviously heavily disagrees, and we just had this conversation even last week about how like I don't really have friends that are not business friends, and and she thinks it's a problem. I don't think it's a problem,
Hmm.
but it's just all perception, right? It's all perception and value,
Hmm.
and for me, it's like I love talking about making money. It's like the only thing I want to talk about. Like I don't have time for fantasy football. I don't have time for TV shows. I just love making money, and I like friends that also like making money, and that's all I want to talk about. So
Right.
that's what I surround myself with, and that's who I hang out with.
Well, they,
And
I, yeah.
inevitably, I mean, I feel like it's social, and for me, it's not like work. It's just fun, and I love hanging out with people like that that think about like how can I get to your level, or how can I help you get to my level, and like we're constantly just trying to help each other grow, and
Sure.
I think that that's just really social for me, and so. I have to answer by saying that my wife thinks I have a huge deficiency in this, but I disagree.
Well, they do say, I've heard that, you are the five people you hang out with. So if the five people you hang out with like to play video games, you're going to probably be one of those
Yeah,
guys too. If you're the
totally.
five people that wants to, go out and I'm just trying to think of something silly, hit the bars, you're going to be one of those five people. If you
Yeah,
want to have five people
totally.
that are going to be like, I want to not only create a business, I want to learn how to make money. I want to learn how to grow that. I could just see you guys sitting around in this in a table at some like restaurant and just throwing stuff back and forth and just
Mm.
going, uh-huh.
Yeah.
And just somebody passing by, I go, oh my gosh, I got to sit down at this table. What is happening? I mean, it sounds amazing. It really
Well,
does.
it is. I mean, I use the reference, the same kind of idea that you just said, but when I explain it, I usually use the reference of like an artist, right? Like
Hmm.
if you hang out with artists like nonstop for 6 months, it doesn't matter if maybe it's 6 weeks, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 6 years, but inevitably your brain will start thinking, hey, art is easy, and it'll become approachable, and you'll
Right.
start doing it. It'll become accessible. And then you just being an artist is kind of normalized, and just by being around it. And it's like the same thing, right? So same thing you just said, but I just use the word artist because most people don't think of themselves as artists. But
Hmm.
you will if you hang out with them long enough.
Yeah, I like that word. It's like he comes, I mean, normalized. Like it's just like, oh, this is the world I live in, and this is, we're business people. Okay, yeah, and just kind of going with it versus the other people that might have some an opposite effect or somebody that's, doing something else. I mean, it's just like I said, you are the five people you hang out with, and that'll bleed through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not like, I mean, I have other friends, I have friends that we don't talk about money, but
Right, right.
I will say my friends that I like to hang out with and, decompress with are,
Hmm.
it's still around business, and different ways to make money. And,
Like your inner circle type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. My inner
yeah.
inner circle. I mean, it's not like we I don't have but I have other friends. I mean, like we hang out. I'm fine. I'm not like a recluse or like a
Sure,
social
sure.
sore. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm fine hanging out with people and getting along. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your questions or not, but it's
100%.
okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think maybe on the outside or, maybe your wife is like, need to be more social and stuff. But I've also heard and seen where guys will get together and it's just like you just said. It's just everyone's like a business professional. They're about how can we make money? What do we need to do? And then maybe someone might be at a lower level than the other people. And I heard about people like fighting over a tab, like the other person, like there's no way I could ever afford to pay that. And these guys are fighting over who's going to pay for this bill. That's like, I don't know how expensive at the restaurant,
Mm,
but just
mm.
being in that kind of environment where everyone is talking about business, how to make money and you're gaining ideas and just to be in that circle of learning how to do that, it's got to be amazing. It's got to be amazing. But
Yeah,
that's
it's
just
definitely weird for sure. I mean, it's definitely unique. My wife loves it and hates it, because
sure.
I'll bring my friends over and she'll bring her friends over and it's very different.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah,
It's
I don't know if it's
understandable.
amazing. I think it's just good for me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand your point. I understand where she's coming from as well.
Yeah.
Um, Real quick intermission. Uh, if this conversation is resonating with you, if you're finding yourself nodding, reflecting, or even challenged in a good way, take a moment to share this episode with someone who needs it. Whether it's a friend navigating fatherhood, a partner rebuilding financial trust, or a colleague searching for purpose, the Glen Gilbert Connection is here to spark transformation. And if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button so you never miss the episode that speaks to your soul and strengthens your relationship. So, young, conflict resolution. What
Yeah.
have you learned about resolving conflict, whether in business or at home, when finances are part of the tension?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I I'm very confrontational, so it makes my wife very anxious and nervous. She hates it. She's very non-confrontational.
Mm.
And it's just I just don't like having anything feel awkward or uncomfortable, or I don't like elephants in the room. I just don't like it. And so I
Mhm.
just like to be free of mind, just free of heart. Like I just want to be myself and not have to worry about like oh, do you have enough food? Do you want that last bite? Or like, is this music okay? It's like, I don't want to deal with any of that. Like,
Mhm.
just do what you want, right? Like, just order another plate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll
Mhm.
go work harder or something. But like, let's just not worry about like stuff like that. Let's just say what you want, and then very quickly we'll figure out if we're gonna get along or not. And then it's just life is so short, and I just don't have the patience to um, dilly-dally around that stuff. And so much so that I kind of go out of my way to like, police these things. And so
Mhm.
it's a big problem because I just can't let it go. And so if I see something that's, inefficient or something that's like detrimenting my family, I'll call it out, right? And I'll say, hey, listen, like, we're at a venue and you decided to congregate at the door, to wait for your group. I don't know what you're thinking you're doing, but this is literally a choke point. Like, so just move
Mhm.
5 feet over to the side and all of us can flow through better and get to our car. I get that you're trying to wait, but like, and she's like, why are you saying that to the strangers? Like, who cares? Just like wait and walk around them. And I'm like, that is the most selfish thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, that is
Right.
so rude. There's only 4 exits in this huge venue. Like, someone should tell them. And
Right.
she's like, yeah, but someone else will tell them. And I'm like, what if I'm someone else?
Yeah, I can
And so,
exactly.
yeah.
I see. I think she just wants you guys to be safe. That's
Yeah,
probably
she
where
just
she's
also
going.
wants us to be like non-confrontational. She'll
Mm.
go out of her way to like even our service providers, like she'll like like go out of her way to make their jobs easier, and she'll sacrifice my time and my energy to make their
Mm.
life easier. And I'm constantly arguing with her because I'll do things mindlessly because I'm so busy, and then I'll like halfway through go, wait, aren't we hiring someone to do this? And she's like, yeah, but I want to get it all ready for them so it's easy for them to do it. I'm like, what are you doing? So she's the type of person that'll clean the house before the cleaners come, you know?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
complain about how tired she is because she has to clean this. You know what I mean? Like it's just like one of those situations where I'm like, what? Why are we hiring someone to do their job for them? It's just she's just that type of person. She has a really big heart, but she's very anti-confrontation, and I'm the
Mm.
exact opposite. I just kind of go out of my way to tell people when I think that they're accidentally or intentionally being rude, and it's hurting my family, right? So it's like, hey,
Mm.
like I can't get out. And so I have young kids, like you're making this 10 minutes longer than it needs to be. Just literally move 10 feet over
Right.
and you won't be in a choke point. Have you never like run a service job or logistics before? Like
Right.
this is like
Right.
common sense.
Feel like you're pointing out the obvious, and this person's just not
I
paying attention to their surroundings.
I think I am. And my
Right.
wife thinks I'm being rude. Yeah. But yeah. But that's how I deal with conflict. And I'm just very direct about it. But it works really well. Like even in my job, right? Like I'm very transparent about people's pay. I'm very transparent about the value of like what I'm looking for and the exchange and whatever. And so
Mhm.
like a lot of like my consulting company, like I'll literally tell you what your skills are worth to me. Everyone knows exactly what everyone's worth to like to me and to the whole company. And like everyone, it's
Sure.
really weird. It throws people off. We lose a lot of candidates because people can't handle that much transparency. But I just I don't like living in awkwardness. So when people are like, how come this person makes like 40% more than me? I'm like, here are the 16 reasons why. Do you need more detail?
Right.
And when you can get to that level and you can bring that level of value, you can make more. It's
Yep.
very straightforward. It's very binary. It's very direct.
Makes
This is,
sense.
yeah. And there's no fluff around it. Right. And so, yeah. So hopefully that answers your question about
Totally.
conflict resolution. I'm very direct about everything.
Yeah, it goes to the point of, we don't have time to play games. We don't have time to do, this or that or the other thing. We need to get stuff done. And it's just like, hey, we need to move on. We need to, just like you said, it's like at work, it's like here's like the 16 things of why this person is going to be qualified. Do you really want me to go into them? Because this is not just like, oh, he's just a buddy. I mean,
Yeah.
what you're describing to me is like you're laying out visual evidence of this and this and this. This is his rate of pay, or this is her rate of pay because of this and this and this.
That's
You
right.
know,
I think you hit it on the head, actually. I mean, it goes down to time, right? I think if I had more time, I would have the luxury of assuming positive intent. I would have
Mm.
the luxury of letting things go. But because I'm trying to do something in 5 years, and I don't have time, and every minute matters, it's like I don't have the time to um, not waste,
Waste.
but like, yeah,
Mm.
it's essentially like expend time on something that's not going to be the right fit quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And so the faster I can articulate to the world exactly what I need for what,
Hmm.
the faster that's going to come find me. And then I can solve that problem and move to the next problem. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of like constraints because I'm trying to achieve this like financial freedom in 5 years. And I think it's compressing it even further. But even before this, I was pretty direct. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm pretty much an open book, and we even, like if you follow my content, I kind of share everything in
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I mean, what you're describing is something that I see a lot in successful people that are in business. It's like, we don't have time to waste. We got stuff we want to do. We need money.
mhm,
And the time is like, we use that time to make some money. And I don't have
mhm,
time to waste doing this or that and the other thing. Let's go.
mhm.
You built a reputation for operational excellence. So, how important is transparency? I think we've kind of answered that in
Yeah,
finances and emotions, in sustaining rather a healthy relationship.
I think it's very important. It's not the best thing to do. I mean, with as you
Mm.
scale, or certain level of transparency needs to be hidden at scale because as you start to get bigger and bigger, it's harder and harder to be that transparent because at the end of the day, the business is not it's not a communist party or a socialist party. It's my business, And so at the end of
Mm.
the day, like, as you start to scale, like you have to understand that like if you want my share, go start your own business. And I've had this conversation with many people before
Mhm.
because they'll get to the point where they see everything and they know everything that's happening in my business because I'm so transparent about it. And then they'll say, well, why don't I get more money? Why are you getting all this money for all this stuff? Because I'm like, I took the risk. I put the
Right.
capital investment in you. I trained you. I had to fire 17 people before you made it. Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of cost that goes to this. But sure, if you feel that way, like, then start your own business. Why would my business be here to support you?
Right.
That's like the antithesis of me starting a business. Like if that's the case, like I'm more than happy to invest in you. Let me be your business partner. I'll invest in you and let's start your own business. But it's absolutely hard to do it as you scale, but it's something that I still try, and then I just lose a lot of people through the process, and it's okay. It's just what it is because I can't really change myself, so I'm just going to lean into it and just know that I can't keep everybody.
Right. It's part of the game. You
Mhm.
remind me of it. It was this, it's very similar to where I don't remember the band name or the artist's name, but it was like the main artist hired a few musicians. And I think one of the guitarists came up to him, like the lead guitarist, and said, "Hey, man, I think I deserve a bigger cut." And he said, "If you want a bigger cut, go start your own band.
Yeah,
Go ahead and go out there and start make your own record, make your own
that's right.
songs." But the guy did, and he worked hard and became so. I would love to give them. I would love to give a shout out, but I don't remember. But what you're describing is the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, if you're asking for more,
Yeah.
why you can go ahead and start it. Go for it. Go
the
do
the
it.
world is abundant, exactly. And like it's one of those conversations that I think that I like to have with people because it is very confrontational and it's very direct and transparent, but
Hmm.
it's also something that you just need to have because I think there's this sense of animosity as the business starts to mature and scale, which is why a lot of transparency starts to dissipate as you get bigger because you can't be that transparent with that many people as you start to get to like 50, 60 employees. But
Right.
it's mostly because people harbor these weird feelings about their role and their stake in the business, and if they see everything, it's just too much information,
Right.
and they can't like emotionally control. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No,
All
I
I'm
think.
saying is I'm very supportive of people leaving me to start their own thing, but
Sure.
I'm not building a business to help somebody else achieve the life that I want. You know what I mean?
Right.
My business is supposed to achieve my life goals. And then
Right.
secondarily, with that extra cash, I can help other people build their life goals. But I'm not sacrificing and risking so that someone else can live great and I can keep risking. That's not how this works.
Right.
You can put in the sweat equity and take the risk and I'll help you. But my business is my business.
That says a lot to your leadership style. Is as a leader, you want, I mean, for lack of a better word, subordinates to succeed.
Totally. I mean, the fact that man, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's it to me. I mean, that's a sign of a good leader. It's like you take your team, the people, your subordinates, and do everything they can because to take on the responsibility. And this is just my understanding. Like I own some big business. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but to have your team, your group, I'm going to be responsible for these, my team, and their success is my success. Their failure is my failure, or rather, their success is their success. Their failure is my failure, type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's a fair point, but I also think that there's something to be said about having a very clear structure for what success looks like for people. Like,
Mm.
I mean, I will tell you, I worked at Starbucks and I ran a very successful store as a store manager. And,
Mhm.
the best time that I operated that business, it was when I basically had overstaffing. I overstaffed the store, contrary to what Starbucks recommended. It
Mhm.
wasn't corporate policy to do that, right? Because it was a very employee-centric company.
Mhm.
And I basically overstaffed it by 20%. And then I would literally give hours based on how well they performed.
Mhm.
Essentially, like, and so then, like, anybody said, oh, I need more hours. I would literally say, look at the schedule, see who's above you with more hours, learn what they're doing, and then beat them at it. And your hours will go up.
Ooh.
Stop talking to me. And it was very performative. And it was like a really fun social test. But I will tell you, that store ran amazing for like
Mhm.
6 or 7 months. And then I read the whole Netflix thing about how they cut the bottom 10% of performers every 6 months. And like,
Mm.
it's like, there's like these insane things that I've heard about from after that. But it's like this concept of like just having that direct conversation with people about what the expectations are is really, really important as a business owner because you you trying to be benevolent is actually going to create more chaos because it's your business, it's your responsibility to dictate what good and bad is. It's not the employees.
Right.
It's yours. And so you have a lot of business owners that struggle with business ownership because they're trying to be a benevolent leader, not realizing that being a good leader is actually taking the responsibility of saying, this is my responsibility to tell you what good and bad is here. And then you have the adult decision to say, oh, I like that. I'm going to move up in this company, or I don't like that. I'm going to leave and find something that fits me better.
You mean
Instead, we just like kind of avoid the conflict in the conversation and we just have these weird, funky situations. And you have so many businesses that are held hostage by their employees, you know?
I was talking to somebody the other day and she was reminding me like there's some people out there, some youngsters that are out there that are basically like after 6 months, I've been here for 6 months. Where's my promotion?
Totally. Totally.
I just
Yeah,
think that's
absolutely.
hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I get that all the time, all
Oh,
the time. Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
What do you look for in a business partner, and how does that mirror what you value in personal relationships?
So the only thing I look for in a business partner is, oh, there's two things really. It's functional expertise and skill, like someone that really loves something and is very, very like technically savvy about that thing.
Mm.
I'm really good at operations and systems and finance, and so I don't have a craft. So I look for people that are visionary, that are craft centric, that are really good at something so that I can apply business mechanics to it. And then the sum of the parts is greater than I'm sorry, the sum is greater than the parts, right?
Right.
And so that's what I look for, one. And then the two, I look for people that have issues, that have like psychological issues and chips on their shoulders, and they have a lot to prove.
Mm.
And, they can get punched in the gut and their teeth kicked in and they'll come back for more the next day. I'm looking for that chip on the shoulder, something to prove. They have some
Resiliency.
sort of issue. Yeah. Some sort of like psychological chip on their shoulder where they have to prove themselves. I'm looking for
Nice.
that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that gut kind of grit.
Yeah. Perseverance. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're just going to just drive through anything. No matter how many times they get knocked down.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. How has being a girl dad shaped your emotional intelligence, and how does that translate into how you lead your teams?
I love being a girl dad. I've always wanted boys, but I
Hmm.
think because I've always wanted boys, I got two girls and I'm so happy about it. And I'm the proudest girl dad ever. And
Hmm.
I don't know how it shaped me because I've never had boys, but I will say that I am very, very happy with my daughters and I love being a girl dad.
Hmm.
And I don't know, man. I don't know how it's shaped me, but it definitely makes me want to work harder and make more money and be a better human.
Hmm.
I was kind of a W-2, like just kind of coasting for over a decade, and then I became a dad, and immediately a fire was lit in me, and I'm just like, I gotta try to like do something more. I mean, I love these kids so much. I gotta be the best version of myself, and it
Hmm.
really just supercharged me, man. And yeah, really changed my life, and it's been really great in that sense. And
Yeah.
then in business, I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of the same,
Hmm.
in business. Nothing's really softened or changed. I'm pretty linear and structured and operational in business. But I think the one thing that has changed is that I have a much softer brand, which is nice because I promote that I'm a girl dad and I'm very proud of it. And so I think people think that's fun and funny. And so that's
Hmm.
helped me get more deals and
Hmm.
bond and build trust faster because, I definitely wear the girl dad moniker very openly. And I think that, it's fun for other business leaders to know that, I have a competent skill that they can hire or buy, but I also have another side of me that I share, which is being a dad and of two girls. So
And you're posting their work behind you, which is fabulous.
yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Well,
Awesome.
my youngest is still at the age where she'll go through the trash and be like, "Hey, oh, did this accidentally fall in here?" And so
Ooh.
like, yeah, so we're like, we just find spaces on every wall to like put them up, and like, there's just she'll grow out of it eventually, but
Yeah.
we're at that stage where she's like, she'll get like really hurt if we take something down.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, gosh,
yeah,
come on,
exactly.
young. Yeah.
So I mean, this is just half, like this is like half of the room. You should see the other side of it. It's like it's a
You're like,
hot mess.
this is nothing. This one,
Yeah.
you have no idea. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship involves risk. How do you navigate financial risk while maintaining trust in your relationships? And I know we talked a little bit about risk, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's all your yield of risk reward, and what you're comfortable with, and I'm definitely way beyond my comfort zone right now.
oof.
I'm
Mm.
punching way above my weight class and trying really hard to stay there for 5 years. Yeah, so I think it's a dial. I think it's an equation that you can calculate, if you do the deep work on yourself and you really, self-reflect and figure out who you are and what you want and what's it worth to you and what will you regret in 80 years and all that chicken soup for the soul stuff, right? You do that deep work and you figure it out. It's a calculatable formula, and
Mm-hmm.
you can assess your risk level and your ability to dial it up or down depending on the situation for a certain amount of time. And I basically just explained algebra, but it's essentially an algebra equation, right? And you can figure that out for yourself. And for me, it's worth this much for 5 years, and I'm living very uncomfortably. Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm very stressed out about it, but it's worth the risk for me to
Right.
try it for 5 years. And then as soon as this 5 year mark is over, I'll dial it down to the level where it's comfortable and start saving money and get back a little nest egg. So, I'm not living to the hilt, but
Right.
yep.
It sounds like a great. I mean, you have the vision, you have the plan, you have things already in place. So it's not like you're just like, well, we'll see how long this goes for, and at least you have things in place to be like, okay, this is going to be a trigger for this. At 5 years, we're going to do this, that type of thing. I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly. I
great.
mean, I do make pivots, but I do have, a structured plan for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I try to
brilliant.
time box everything. I mean,
Hmm.
it's insane not to, in my opinion. I mean, I think that, for people that are trying to like, what's your manifesto? What is like your legacy? What's your meaning of life? It's like, I don't know. Like, I'm a completely different person than I was when I was 25. Like, I just talked to someone that hasn't talked to me in 4 years. He just came on he's like, oh my gosh, I just checked your LinkedIn. Like, what are you doing? And we had a huge catch up call, and he's like, you're a completely different person than 4 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I completely changed who I am for this time box. Like,
Hmm.
I have to be outgoing. I'm actually an introvert. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like I don't, now I'm like, creating content. I'm out there networking, and like I
Right.
had to learn all these technical skills to build business and top of funnel. Like there's a whole thing, right? I'm just like literally changing who I am to achieve this goal. And I think that human beings are very malleable, and we're very, very creative creatures. And
Mm.
it's just a matter, is it worth it to you or not? Do you want it bad enough? And if you don't, then you don't do it. And if you
Right.
do, then you do it. And that's literally it. But we can be conditioned to do a lot of strange things and a lot of punishing things for long periods of time if we want it bad enough.
Hmm. Yeah. You emphasize community in your business philosophy. How do you foster meaningful connection in both your professional and personal circles?
I think that I just try to be as vulnerable and honest as possible and
Mhm.
transparent as possible, and that has yielded me great success in building deeper relationships with my core people.
Mhm.
Mostly because you put out in the world who you are, what you want, what you suck at, and what you need. It'll naturally scare the people away that shouldn't be around you because you're projecting it so openly and directly. It'll naturally attract the people that can either help you or need you, right? And so it's a really weird effect of trying to build a top of funnel, because I realize that if I build all these things, I'm going to need leads, and I'm a machine to do that. So I work, it's a long orchestrated plan, but I don't have to go into detail here. But the effect that I didn't realize was going to happen by being so public and trying to build a personal brand digitally is that it's literally attracted the right people to me. And
Nice.
it's been phenomenal. And so I make friendships much faster now because people already know what I'm going to be like, what I'm going to say, what I think, because it's already out in the ether,
Mhm.
and they're already attracted to it. And so when they connect with me, it's a deeper relationship almost instantly, because there's a set of core values that are not all the same, but enough that are the same that we can go into a deeper conversation that's more meaningful and transactional, and in some ways even like philosophical, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a phenomenal thing that I did not expect to happen. And so my relationships have gotten much deeper, much faster with people.
Oh, that's great. It's
Mm.
amazing. What's one lesson about relationships or money that you wish you learned earlier, and how has it shaped who you are today?
I wish that I learned about just time leverage and how capital works. I wish that I learned this stuff sooner, and I have no regrets. Obviously, I'm very happy with the life that I lived, and but if you asked me that question, I had to answer it. I feel like I just got opened up to this whole concept of like, you know, how rich people get wealthy. It's like I have people talking to me about like investing in my businesses to, do this and that. And then if you get it to this scale, we bolt this on, then we get a 5x valuation on that instead of a 3. And then if you do this with the system, and then you get an 8x on the top line. And I'm like, wait, you're just like making money, like by literally just like talking to me about it. And it's fascinating because there are people that will literally give you money to go do this and then flip the money and flip it around. And like, I'm talking like the typical private equity, game and gamut, but that's like one component, right? But there's so many ways to doing this. Like people getting debt to like mitigate their tax liabilities. Like there's just so many fun things that like people do that I wish I was just more savvy and earlier, because this stuff like compounds with time. And because I'm learning it, like as I'm pushing 50 years old, like I feel like I have less time for it to compound. So I have to do more drastic things to catch up to what I could have had and or do what I'm doing now, which is like going full hilt for 5 years, to like try to like make up for the lost amount of time that I didn't know this stuff. But if I had learned it in my 20s and 30s, I feel like I would have been in a much better situation, taking way less risks. Because money compounds.
Yeah. Excuse me. I know that to be that successful, to get to the upper echelon, you really have to have a passion for it. You really have to go after it with just like almost like this is my world. There's nothing else really there, and you're just kind of going for it, But well, we covered a lot today.
Awesome.
I do appreciate everything. But before we go, how can people find you?
So if you want to learn just more about me and how to work with me, you can go to alwayshan.com. That's always Han, H-A-N. It's a pun, so it's kind of like always on, but my last name is Han, so it's always Han. And if you need a fractional CFO, it's thesis.inc. And if you need a business coach, it's owners.club. But you can find it all on alwayshan.com. That's the best place to go.
Perfect. Thank you. So Young Han reminded us today that leadership isn't just about strategy, it's about presence. It's about showing up for your family with the same intentionality you bring to your business. If there's one takeaway from this episode, it's that fiscal responsibility and relationship depth aren't completing values. They're not competing values, they're complementary forces. Thank you for tuning into the Glen Gilbert Connection. Keep healing, keep growing, keep showing up for yourself and for those who you love. Until next time, stay tuned. Thank you so much, Young. I really do appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.